He says, I'm so happy that she didn't answer the phone because your dad wasn't calling you to tell you what was happening with him. He was calling to say goodbye. So first of all, I gotta tell you, your father is here on the other side. Because right away he was saying to me, Matt, my daughter keeps saying there's no way he's coming through. There's no way he's coming through. My dad won't come through because he wouldn't have done that here in this world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But also, your father says to me, Matt, the moment that I got to the other side, there's so much unfinished business here that I have to talk about, speak about, and say. And he keeps saying, I'm sorry for hurting her. I'm sorry for hurting her. Because what was so tough is that when I'm connecting with your dad, he tells me that there was a point where the two of you were not on speaking terms here in this world. Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. And your father says to me, Matt, I wish that I could take it all back. He says, I wish that I could relive my life and rescue all of those moments that I let go away, he said. But what's tough is this. When I'm connecting with your dad, all right, I'm sorry to do this to you, but I got to go all the way back in the past. When I'm connecting with him, he says to me that when he first met your mom, and you were born, he tells me that him and your mom had issues here in this world. And first of all, he wants to start from there. Because right away, your dad says to me that I need to apologize from him to you and say that he's sorry for all that you saw, all that you witnessed, and everything that you saw went on with your mom. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Because he tells me that what was tough is that you saw terrible, terrible things growing up.
I did.
And your father says to me, Matt, I was ashamed of the person that I was. Because when I'm connecting with him, I see him and your mom had a very abusive relationship here in the physical world.
Yeah, they did.
And he shows me that it took away from your childhood and it took away from who you were. Because you had to grow up and you felt like you had to rescue your mom or be there for your mom. And because of that, it caused an issue between you and your dad.
Yeah.
He says, Matt, he says, please let her know that it wasn't her who caused that issue, it was me. I'm going to tell you something that you don't know, or I think you don't know. Your father shows me that before you were born, there were some alcohol issues that he had here in this world. Did your mom ever share that with you?
Yeah.
Okay. And I also see that your mom gave your dad several opportunities. She tried so hard to make it work with him because I have to be honest, she really did love your father.
Yeah, they were together for 23 years in a very abusive relationship.
He chose me. He says, Matt, she was the one who truly loved me. Because I keep seeing your mom opening the door, letting him back in, doing everything that she could for him to be a part of your life.
Yeah.
But it was so tough because at the same time, your father says, Matt, he says, I may have worn the title of dad, but I never deserved it, he said to me. Because even as he got older, right, and as you got older, he tells me that you spent so much of your life taking care of him, being there for him, loving him. And your father says to me, Matt, I should have been more of a protector and more of a father figure in her life. And for that, I'm sorry. He's bringing that up. He says to me this. He says, Matt, please let her know that since I've got to the other side, I've been trying so many ways to get her attention. And he just showed me him sending you songs. Do you hear music that reminds you of him?
Yeah.
That's his way of coming through. Your father was also playing with substances here in this world.
Yes.
Because when I'm connecting with his soul, he just showed me visions of all pill bottles all in front of me. It also started to affect his head as well when I'm connecting with him. Your father says to me, Matt, he says, what was so tough is that I should have came to my daughter and I should have told her what was going on. He wants to apologize for the way that he was found and what had happened. So were you all trying to get to him at the time of his passing?
Yeah.
Okay. Because he shows me about everyone trying to get to him, but he had already been gone an extended amount of time because I see that.
Yeah. We found him the next day.
So your father says to me this. You go back and you say, I wish that I could have saved my dad. I wish that I would have gotten there one day early. Because what's crazy is he keeps telling me in my ear about the phone calls. So when he just whispered out the phone calls in my ear, please know that your dad wants to let you know, okay, that do not feel that if you answered the phone, anything could have changed about that day. Because he says, Matt, if there's one thing that I need to validate for her, it's the phone call. Because that has haunted you since your father's death. Is that true?
Yes.
He says to me, Matt, he says, I'm so happy that she didn't answer the phone. Because your dad wasn't calling you to tell you what was happening with him. He was calling to say goodbye. So he says, Matt, please let her know one thing. The day when you were like, I'm not going to answer this, I'm not going to answer this, you felt not to answer this.
Yeah.
Thank God you didn't, because your dad was not in his right mind. He says, and I would have never wanted you to experience that side of me. He says, so Matt, please tell her that I'm okay. Please tell her that I am at peace. And more importantly, my soul is always and forever with her.